Welcome back to the Football Terrace. We're here live in Germany. So much great content we're going to bring your way in the coming weeks. Already a brilliant job having been done out here by the boys. Let me know if you can hear me okay. We've set the rig up, just really arrived. We've watched the Netherlands knock out Romania. It was, in my opinion, it was a very good performance from the Netherlands. A little bit wasteful. They probably should have put the game to bed earlier in the match. That should have happened, in my humble opinion. But Gakpo absolutely shone today. He was absolutely brilliant. He was a star, an absolute star out there on the field of play. And look, I've seen players that are rated be absolutely crucified in the last few days for awful performances, and the world essentially stating that, well, this proves they're not top players. And I don't think you can judge somebody overly based on one game or an international performance. However, when you deliver at these major tournaments, I think it does so much for your legacy in the game, so much for your stature, so much for, just for your confidence going into the next season. And listen, he hasn't been perfect every minute of every game, but Gakpo, for me, this tournament has been the standout player for the Dutch. He was excellent today. Brilliant first goal. Wonderful skill for the second by Marlon, which essentially killed the game off. And the Netherlands go through. They're going to play. Who are the Netherlands going to play? They go through. It's going to be Turkey, or Austria. And look, it was a little bit of a turnaround. I feel like the Dutch have been rightfully criticized. I think the Dutch have been rightfully written off by some people. I looked at them a bit like England, a bit like Belgium that have gone out, and I thought, can they really win the tournament? Romania, on the other hand, I think they've been a breath of fresh air. I think the Romanians have equipped themselves and performed so well. They have superseded expectations. They've been a dangerous team, and they were dangerous today. The theme of this Euros tournament continues, which is no team is formidable. Everybody is beatable. And we don't really know day to day who is and isn't going to win these. We just don't know. There's always a chance that the underdog wins. We've seen it on multiple occasions. And that is why Gakpo, that is why Xavi Simons, that is why this Dutch team as a whole need praise for today. Some will say, well, it's only Romania. They are meant to win. But in the same breath have stated that this Netherlands team is awful, that Romania had a chance of winning, that this wasn't going to be a one-sided game. This wasn't going to be a beatdown. So we need to be fair, we need to be honest, and we need to be respectful of that performance we saw today, because that is the best they've looked so far in this tournament. And should they be able to, from this stage, be able to continue to grow, find their form, maintain and potentially raise these levels, they could be a threat. There's no doubt about it whatsoever. They are definitely a threat to make it to the final on the side of the draw that they are on. My only real criticism, the only area that I say they have to really look to improve on, is they're killing off the game. They're finishing in front of goal. That element simply wasn't good enough for the vast majority of the match. However, I think defensively they were quite strong at times. And that doesn't mean they weren't opened up. Everybody can get opened up. But the Dutch, they got their blocks in. They covered space. When they were caught out of position, they managed to defend the situation well. And if I'm being honest, Romania were a threat. Romania had some half chances. But the longer the game went on, the less and less likely it felt that Romania were going to be able to hurt them. I think they had 5 shots in the whole game, just 1 on target compared to the 23 of the Netherlands. And as I say, I think they've done brilliantly well, the Romanians, to get to this stage of the tournament. They were not fancied to get out of their group, but we saw a level of absolute class today, absolute class from the Dutch. I want to shout out Marlon as well, who came on as a sub, bagged those 2 goals. Interesting, like what that's going to do for the next game. Is he going to be given an opportunity now to start the match? Is meritocracy going to be at the forefront when it comes to this conversation. Look, I want to get your views. I want to get your opinions on everything that happened today. I also want to shout out another player as well. I'm going to end up butchering his name. Is it Readers? Readers? I think he's had a phenomenal tournament. Even when the Dutch haven't been good, I felt he has performed. And I thought, again, he had a very, very important game today as well. Terry being over critical. No, I don't think I am. I don't think I'm being over critical by any stretch of the imagination. I think I'm being fair. I'm praising the performance. Best at the tournament so far. The ability to get to the final if they maintain this and get better. The one area that will need to improve if they're going to go the whole way is finishing more of their chances. I think they should have put the game to bed a little bit earlier. And you could call it nitpicking, but I'm nitpicking because that's going to be the difference between them getting to a semi-final, maybe getting to the final and winning this tournament. Because when they play potentially a Germany or a Spain or teams of that level, maybe the Swiss in the semi-finals, the Austrians potentially in the next round, they may not get 23 opportunities on goal. Therefore, being clinical is going to be very, very important indeed. Thank you very much for the raid from Hassam and his viewers. Really do appreciate that a lot. The Netherlands and Germany are more better teams than England. Unfortunately, England has the better roster squad, but they play awful because of Southgate. I would say I've seen much better performances from Germany and the Netherlands at this performance. There's no doubt about it. Are they better teams? Yes, they have been at this tournament. And I don't think the quality of your players overly matters. It's about how good a team you are. Bergwijn in the starting 11, unbelievable. Yeah, a little bit. Gakpo has been the Netherlands' best player. That's from my guy Samuel. I agree. I think he has been their best player throughout the course of this tournament. There's a few other candidates, but for me, I would have to agree with you 110%. And yes, that is a Euros trophy that we have brought all the way here. Hopefully England will be bringing this home. Hopefully they will, but we don't know yet. But yeah, this bad boy is going to be here with us. And as I said at the top of the video, first, you guys have got to get across to my Instagram and the Football Terrace Instagram. Just search Terry Fleurs and TFT. TFT Terrace on Insta. We're going to be bringing you lots of content. There's already great stuff that KJ and the boys have been putting out on Instagram and on TikTok. But when we're here now for the next couple of weeks, of course, we're going to have the match reactions. We're going to go out and do some football challenges. We're going to go out and do some more interviews with fans, do some quizzes and games. But at the top of that, we're going to host some of our podcasts here. We've brought a lot of our equipment, of our microphones, cameras, and we're going to set it up. We've got great people here, David and young Tom. We've got KJ out here. We've got Dizzy out here with us, Dre on cameras as well, and a few more special guests coming later on in the tournament. We want to try and create some really good content for you, bring Germany to life in a bigger way, and sort of use this as a bit of a base to get your feedback and your reaction to should we do more of this new style content moving forward in the future as well. I love what we have at the Terrace. I love this community, but I always think there is room to grow and improve and broaden our horizons as well. And your feedback on that is very, very, very important indeed. Terry, don't give my Turks a chance. I mean, Turkey have definitely got a chance. There's no doubt about it. I mean, I'm not talking about Turkey in this game. I'm talking about the Netherlands. But we know Turkey have got a chance. They've been excellent in this tournament so far. Their game that kicks off in just under an hour's time against the Austrians is going to be great. And if they get through listen, once you get to the quarterfinals, anything is possible. They've been excellent in the vast majority of games, barring the Portugal one. I haven't mentioned them or written them off in any capacity. Terry, we need a TFT roadshow. I need to know what that means, my bro. Another good thing is 0 suspensions for the Netherlands. That's very good indeed. It really is. Luke here says, I know this is the Euros right now, but did you see the ref from the USA Uruguay? I haven't actually, because I got up at like 5 a.m. this morning and I've been driving to Germany. Literally got here, set up a very small rig in the living area that we have so that I could do this match reaction. And I've just been talking and chilling with the guys, really. I had to go out and do a big shop, get some food in for everybody. As you know, we're not going to, the Football Terrace has brought everybody out here and we've got to feed everyone. So, yeah, look, it's, and that's why I want to thank all of you, really, because we wouldn't be able to do this without your donations. We wouldn't be able to do this without your memberships. We wouldn't be able to do it without you hitting the like button. And we have ambitions to sort of grow and develop the terrace and to take away nothing we already do, but to enhance them, and then to add more strings to our bow in other areas, across TikTok and Instagram, different kind of content being made as well, which we've dreamt of doing for a while. And, you have all made this possible. You are the best community out there. There's no doubt about it whatsoever. So thank you to everybody that has made this possible. Meet and greets in major city centers. Keep your eye out for that. Keep your eye out. Xavi Simons is average. See, again, you'd need to quantify what you mean by average. I'd need to understand what you mean as an individual by average. I wouldn't quantify him as an average player. I think he's at an average tournament. There is ability there, but his decision-making has not been at the level of which I would want to see it. There's been times where you go, right, shoot, and he doesn't do it. There's times where you go, pass, he doesn't quite do it in time. Having said that, he set up, he got himself 2 assists today. So from a GA perspective, there is delivery, there is output, and that's a very, very important fundamental within the game. And I stand by this. The other day, I saw this guy, I don't know who it was. It got retweeted and I saw it, that said something that Yamal is proving that GA is absolute nonsense and that's not what wingers should be judged on. And I sort of chuckled to myself and thought, well, all attacking players should be judged partly on their GA. And the reason that I say that is because Yamal is being judged on his GA. And let me quantify that. His skill and his dribbling and his skill set is amazing. But we wouldn't be raving about this 16-year-old if he wasn't creating the chances that he does. If he hadn't created the goals, the actual goals that have gone in that he does. If he had all the same skills, but those crosses that have been brilliant, that have led to at least, 2 goals in this tournament, were overhit, he wouldn't be the same brilliant player. He hasn't scored yet at this tournament, but it's right on the edge of doing so. But he's been so dangerous and so consistent. If that goal threat wasn't there, if that delivery wasn't there, all the skill and the quality that he possesses on the ball would mean a hell of a lot less. And that's been the same throughout the history of football. The output, especially for attackers when it comes to goals and assists, creativity, is absolutely fundamental at every level. This year from Sadiq says, Terry is spot on. We, the Netherlands, have to improve in finishing. Should have been 5-0. Gakpo is our star man. Xavi needs to improve his decision-making. Listen, I totally agree with everything you've said. I know you've echoed back to me. And I think that when you get to this stage of a tournament, you do need to nitpick. You do need to nitpick. You will want the manager nitpicking. You'll want the Dutch press nitpicking. You'll want the pressure to be upon the players to improve those areas, because if they do, great things could happen for this Dutch side, 110%. I think Gakpo or Yamal have been the player of the tournament. Listen, I think Yamal is up there. I think Gakpo's certainly a shout. Nico Williams is a shout. I'm trying to think of other players that stand out to mind right now. Kukurea at left back has been absolutely phenomenal as of right now. Gahey is a name that should be out there. Rodri for Spain, the name has got to be in the hat. And I'm probably just missing people. Kanji is definitely in that mix. Xhaka is in that mix. I think there's loads of names that could be there. I don't think we can. You could say so far, absolutely. We're going to find out by the final who the best player is, because it's, what I love about the Euros and World Cups is you only decide the best player after it ends, not like the Premier League 3 or 4 months before. Musiala's a shout. It's a really, really good shout. That Musiala's definitely in the mix, 110%. I forgot about him, to be fair. Let's have a little look here. Seriously, what does Depay being in this game? He is slow, no pace, no hold up. He is trash. Listen, my issue with Memphis is he's just lacked that clinical edge so far in this tournament. I feel like pressure's getting to him. I feel like he's trying too hard. A little bit like Cristiano Ronaldo, if I'm being honest with you. I really, really do. Mo's joining me now on the show to have his say. Welcome back, mate. How are you?
Yeah, how are you? Safe travels. Had a good trip.
Yeah, mate. It was a very good trip. Tiring. Like right now, I'm struggling to stay awake. I'm so exhausted, but
Yeah, of course,
but
understandable.
no, absolutely great being out here. And I haven't seen any of Germany now. I've seen the motorway and I've seen a few parts of the town. But yeah, tomorrow we'll get out
Yeah.
and about and everything else, mate. But what did you make of the game we just watched?
To be honest with you, I think the Netherlands improved massively over the first round. Massively. Defensively, they are more solid. I know that some of the Romanian players had some time behind the midfield and everything. But I thought the offensive part of them, I know that people would say, oh, yeah, Xavi Simons was bad and everything. Xavi Simons, I thought he improved massively going forward. The final product is still lacking, but they didn't have that much corners, that much crosses from Denzel Dumfries, who I don't rate at all. He got to the right places about like 10 times in the first half, didn't deliver the right cross. I think Cody Gakpo is the starter. It's the Netherlands team. He's amazing. That drive he had from his half all the way about 60, 70 yards and took the shot. It was great. I think they are dangerous for the English. If England reach the the semi-final, they meet the Netherlands. That's if Netherlands, of course, go through the next round, and England go through as well. I think now they are growing into the tournament. De Vrij, Nathan Ake was good again. Van Dijk was good. Reinders and the Schlotten guy in the middle was good. I don't think I can pick anyone that was bad. Memphis Depay today had some strange decisions, but that's expected from him. But I thought otherwise he was just okay. He's not as bad as the first game, to be honest. Like I thought that most of the Netherlands teams actually grew into the game and played well tactically. And also, by the way, I thought tactically Coman got it right, playing 4-4-2, which is something that we didn't see before. 4-4-2 was a little bit of a change for the Netherlands. A lot of people don't want to give the Netherlands their flowers, and I thought they tactically Coman finally got it right. I thought that the forward line delivered at the end. They had plenty of chances, by the way, to score. Yes, they need to put the ball in the back of the net, but how can I challenge them if at the end they won with that score line? They absolutely converted at the end. Like people just want them to score 6 or 7. That's not going to happen in the tournament. You deliver some and you miss some. And I think at the end when it mattered, Cody Gakpo, amazing first goal, great assist. The second goal didn't give up. And the third goal, it's like Malin was good. So I thought the English should fear the Netherlands team if they go to the semi-final because
yeah. Well, I was just going to say to you, I am not even thinking about the Netherlands yet. That genuinely, I'm not even thinking about them. We've got to get past the Swiss. But if the Swiss play to the level we've seen in this tournament, they'll knock England out if we don't improve. If we do manage to get past Switzerland, and if we get the Dutch, and the Dutch play at this level that we saw today, they will beat us. If we get the Turkish or the Austrians and they play at the levels they've demonstrated, everybody left in the tournament on our side, if they play to the levels they've demonstrated so far and we don't improve, we will get knocked out. So you're absolutely right about that. And obviously we're focusing more on the Netherlands because, of who and what they are.
Yeah. But I think England improved, Terry. I think England improved. I actually genuinely think they improved, to be honest.
Yeah, listen, I hope you're right, mate. I really do hope you're right. I wanted to ask you, a lot of people are giving stick to Xavi Simons, that, he's overrated, he isn't good enough, he's not having a great tournament. What's your take on his performance, but also the individuals out there that are writing him off?
Overreaction. I don't know why people are hating on Xavi Simons now because he's linked to Bayern Munich. They're hating on him. By the way, Xavi Simons today got in a really, really good positions, and Memphis Depay missed him in the pass, passed the wrong one. Malin missed a pass to him. It could have been a tap in, and he missed him in the pass. I think even Bergwijn in the first half missed him. He missed one chance where when Denzel Dumfries played like a cutback. I think people are hating on him. The guy is 21 years old, and you would love to have him on your team. I think any team in the world would be absolutely lucky to have Xavi Simons on their team. I don't think he played bad at all today because he didn't score a goal. He didn't play. I didn't think he played bad at all. People are just hating on him because he's young, he's successful, he's a starter for the Netherlands national team. He's now linked to Bayern Munich. I didn't think he played bad at all. Like people are expecting him to be Messi or Lamine Yamal, or people are expecting him to be like, he is a good player. He's a very good player. I'm not saying listen, Lamine Yamal is generational. You aren't going to get every player as Lamine Yamal. Nico Williams is very good. Nico Williams playing much better team with much better individuals, in my opinion. I said the passing from the Netherlands was not great in terms of the final decision, who to pass to. Like they were 3-on-3, 3-on-2, and they chose the wrong pass to Cody Gakpo. Malin chose the wrong pass where it could have been to Xavi Simons, and we could have been here talking about something else. People just hating on him. He's good. I think he's a very good. Any team would be lucky. If he goes to Arsenal, they would be lucky to have him on that left side. If he goes to Man United, he would play on the right side. He will play as a forward. I think if he goes to Liverpool, he even starts. Right? I don't know where Cody Gakpo would play. I think he's good. It's not that he completely dropped a stinker there. He didn't. It's not that he didn't play a 9 out of a 10, or he didn't play 8 out of 10. He gave a solid 7, which is very good for a 21 years old in a knockout stages. Is this his first international tournament? If I'm not mistaken, or second?
Oh, I'd have to check that. But yeah, he is still very young, as you point out. He really, really is.
Why are people thinking everybody's going to be a Lamine Yamal now?
Yeah, we're seeing the same thing now because of what Lamine Yamal's doing, and what Musiala's doing, and what Mbappe did a few years ago. It's just repeating itself, that if you're not at that level at the same age, you're written off. And I look at Xavi Simons. What is he age wise? He's 21. He's just turned 21. As an example, he has his 17 caps. There's room for him to improve. This weird notion that if by 21 you are not the finished article, that you're being written off from being an international level footballer. You could probably write Xavi Simons off from being the best player in the world. I don't think he's ever going to be the best player in the world, but it doesn't mean that he will not develop into a consistent international level football player. You could throw mud at the wall and just keep writing everybody off, and you're going to get some right, because lots of these young players are not going to reach the top. But it's just every single player now that isn't delivering. And by the way, this is all similarly. Jude Bellingham has now got a huge percentage of people that despise him. Where 18 months ago, he was flavor of the month, and he was even less than 18 months ago, he was being raved about by everybody. The same thing's going to happen to Yamal. Just discount Real Madrid fans that will get at him. What is going to happen, what's very likely to happen, at some point in the next year, 2-3 years, he might have a dip. He might go to the next World Cup and not be very good. And you'll get the same suspects, the same football fans that will start to say he was a one tournament wonder, he's a hype job, he's regressed, he hasn't moved on to the next level, because they're not looking at the typical sort of development arc of a professional football player. And there are some who come through at 17, 18, 19, get to the top very quickly and maintain it for a prolonged period of time. Mbappe would be a player. Wayne Rooney would be a player. But they are the outliers. They are the exception to the rule. So the analysis around someone like Xavi Simons is similar to a lot of other young players at this tournament. And I personally think it isn't just a disgrace to that player. I think it's an abomination to football. I think you are disrespecting football by talking this way, because you are suddenly setting a standard that wipes the legacy of so many other top quality players. So many other top quality players that have existed just because they weren't doing what Yamal was doing at 16, or they haven't got to Messi's level. It's crazy, in my opinion, mate.
Yeah, I'm gonna for a lot of people that talk about this, you have Bukayo Saka, you have Phil Foden. Phil Foden is 24. And until this moment, Phil Foden has not played up to, maybe you're not thinking that Phil Foden is Lamine Yamal. Oh, Lamine Yamal is 16. There is 8 years difference. Bukayo Saka. Would you write off Bukayo Saka and say Bukayo Saka is not great? Bukayo Saka has played well for Arsenal. Is he playing Ballon d'Or level? Is Bukayo Saka... If you're picking a player today and you're picking Lamine Yamal or Bukayo Saka, most people will pick Lamine Yamal. He's 16, higher ceiling. Doesn't mean that Bukayo Saka is not a good player. Doesn't mean I sit in every show and just slag him off. It doesn't mean that. Leo
100%.
Messi was great at 18 years old. 20 years old, the guy was fantastic, right? At 22 years old, he won the Champions League, and I think he won the Ballon d'Or. at the age of 22. I think in 2008, or that was 21. Is Saka winning Ballon d'Or now? Did Foden, and I'm talking to the English fans, because it turns into tribals, because the player rejected or did it, or your club didn't go for him. Now you got to slag him off because he's not going to your club. It looks like now we're moving into an era where if a player doesn't play for my club, I'm not going to rate them unless they are Leo Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo or someone like that. People have to think about it twice before you say Xavi Simons is not good. Or Jamal. Some people now are turning into Jamal Musiala. He runs awkward. He's not going to be that level. Is that because he doesn't play for your club? And because you watched him a couple of times at Bayern Munich and he wasn't the best player on the pitch? Not every player has to be the best player on the pitch. Martin Odegaard, and I'm going to say that last example before Terry comes in. Martin Odegaard at Real Madrid didn't work out for him. They loaned him, and he was loaned to Arsenal. He was loaned to Real Sociedad. It doesn't mean that he's a bad player. Where is Martin Odegaard now? Most of the fans, they say, oh, this guy's one of the best players in the Premier League, right? You say that. At the age of 21, at the age of 20, a lot of people said this guy failed already. By the way, they ruled him out. Take that as an example. They ruled him out from reaching his potential. Martin Odegaard now, back-to-back seasons, he's having great seasons for Arsenal, right? At the age of 21, no one was saying that. So people just have to understand that not at the age of 21, you're not going to hit your ceiling. And if you hit your ceiling at the age of 21, you are a generational talent, like a Messi, right? Lamine Yamal at 16, we have not seen this ever before. That doesn't happen. People at the age of 21 don't play as much.
I listen, I totally agree. And I think that there's a few comments I want to bring up here, because first one's from Mashud that says, what are we doing comparing Messi to Saka? That isn't what's happening here. You're mishearing. What Mo has said, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I want to see that I've understood it right, is just because a player isn't at Messi's level doesn't mean the criticism of them should be to the degree that we're seeing. And we are seeing, this is the irony. Of course, maybe you're agreeing with Mo, but I've just misinterpreted what you've read. But you are right in what you're saying, that Saka is nowhere near Messi's level. But that doesn't mean that you should slag Saka off for it, because most players in the history of football haven't been there. Just because another young player isn't at Yamal's level, Yamal's doing something that's never happened before at an international tournament, where a 16-year-old at a major nation is arguably been the best player at the tournament. So we are looking at something that in 130, 140 plus years of footballing history has never occurred before. And yet you're using that now as a new benchmark to judge people. It is utterly and fundamentally ridiculous, in my opinion. Now, you may not have personally been doing that. There's another comment here that says, Terry, Lamar isn't hyped because of GA. That is the difference. Yamal is a pure footballer. Yamal is not hyped in any capacity. He has been rightfully praised for what he's done so far. But it's the combination of his footballing ability and the outputs that come with it. If the footballing ability looked the same, but 90% of his crosses were overhit or underhit, and his shots were awful, and he wasn't creating goal-scoring opportunities, he wasn't opening teams up and cutting balls back and being influential in his team's attacks, he wouldn't be the young man that we are praising so highly and so rightfully so. He wouldn't be that person. It is the combination of the two things, and always has been for attackers. And Twisted Bubba says style over substance now. Nobody is stating that. It's a combination of the two, and it always has been. What we are stating is that when somebody has ability and they're young, I think it's right to give them time. Giving them time doesn't mean no criticism. What it means is not just having a knee-jerk reaction and writing them off. And everybody's got different motivations. Some people just want to see the world burn. You know, there's no rhyme or reason to what they do. I remember hearing Kevin Hart speak about this on Joe Rogan's podcast probably about 6-7 years ago now. Some people just like to be negative. And he made an example of, because you could be sitting in a room at work and two of you could be saying what a great movie the Titanic is. And the guy at the end of the room will shout across, I hate the Titanic. It sucks. For no real reason. Doesn't even have to say it. There's no mileage in it, but just does it. And there's no rhyme or reason. Other people have their agendas. It's, I need to slag this guy off. Either one, because I never thought he'd get to this level and he's proven me wrong. So now I need to look to trip him up at every opportunity. Or he's a threat to the status of my favorite player. So therefore, I've got to look for reasons to trip him up. And that for me is look, everyone's entitled to view and support football in any which way they want. But just as they're offering criticism, I'm going to offer criticism. I think that's a really negative, reductive, and boring way to view football. And you're going to be a very unhappy person. Like, and most of these people as well, you read most of their tweets about football, most of their posts about football, most of their comments about football. They're just angry all the time. My view is stop watching football. You clearly don't like it. So, and that's not you, Twisted Bubba. That's just the people that are going mad over this. The way I've seen the Xavi Simonses and the Jude Bellinghams, the Šeško spoken about at this tournament is hyperbolic, over the top nonsense. Doesn't mean they're all going to get to the top, and I believe they're all going to get to the top. Some won't. But the idea that you're writing them off now after a few bad games is crazy, in my opinion.
I actually think I actually clocked it now. I know why. Because Xavi Simons or whoever or player X was linked to another club and the fans hyped him up, like a Cisco linked to Arsenal. And now you're seeing you're trying to find every single opportunity to slug off the other fans that that praised that guy. Like, for example, they're trying to say Cisco's rubbish, Cisco's this, Cisco's that, because the Arsenal fans said he's good. Arsenal fans, when they were linked to Xavi Simons, some of them were like, "Oh, I don't like him," and then they're like, "See, I'm right. He's shit. He's not good. I didn't want him on my club. I don't rate the guy. I'm right. You're wrong." I think it's just all about this now, because Cole Palmer at the age of 22, Cole Palmer, by the way, before he joined by the way, Cole Palmer, before he joined Chelsea, he was 20 at the age of 20 years old. He had played 600 minutes in the Premier League only. That's it.
Yeah,
off the bench. You would never have guessed that he would have had this season, right?
I agree. I agree so much with what you're saying. And we all of us believe our opinions are right. Otherwise, we wouldn't state them. Why would you give an opinion that you don't believe in? That would be a really weird thing to do. But there's a lot of weakness in this industry. There's a lot of weakness on social media that is demonstrated through. I have to be right about everything. And even when I'm wrong, and we all probably know that I'm wrong, I'm going to look for every excuse. So you could have a player. Let's just say we'll keep it to Xavi Simons. Some people are going to write him off now. And he might have 5, 6, 7 really good games on the bounce. And they will wait for that one poor performance to go, see, told you I was right about him. When if you look through the history of football, that's a really good ratio. If you have a footballer that's brilliant for 5 or 6 games and then has a stinker, and then is brilliant for 5 or 6 games and has a stinker, throughout the history of the game, it's pretty usual. That's pretty normal. And there's a comment here that I want to put up that says Yamal has 10 times the talent any young Barca kid has had in the past 10 years. And that's exactly why he shouldn't be the benchmark. Because you are setting a standard that is almost, well, it's been unachievable for the whole history of football. So to set that as a standard of, if you don't do what he's doing at his age, I'm going to say you're crap and everybody else's standards are too low. What you're essentially doing is you're creating a sort of a flawed argument, but one that if everybody else accepts means you're always going to be right. If you set the standard so high that it's highly unlikely that it's ever going to be attained, you can just turn around and go, well, I told you everybody else's standards are too low. I hold the standards up high. But you're never going to enjoy football because we may never see a Yamal again in our lifetimes. If it's the first time we've seen a 16-year-old do this in 130 odd years, what makes you think there's going to be another one that comes along that you see in your lifetime? So imagine spending the next 30, 40, 50, 60 years of your life hating on every single young player because they're not doing what Yamal's doing. It is flawed logic. And I'm at a point where I don't even believe people believe it. I think it's flux. I think it is fake. And I think it is just a way of farming for interactions on social media. I really do. And that's why I'm not naming the individuals. This year says, Terry, remember when João Felix was billed as the next Ronaldo whilst he was still a teenager? He was, and he started brilliantly. He then made a bad move. He left Benfica and he went to Ati far too young, moving country, moving nations, bigger pressures, and it hurt him. We saw the same thing with Renato Sanchez. But that doesn't mean people were wrong to rate them when they were young and want their club to buy and invest in them to try and make those players get to the very top. Multiple things. And sometimes it isn't even the opinion of the fans' fault. We don't know what goes. For instance, let's just say Mo predicts for Garnacho to become world class. But what Mo doesn't know is that Garnacho is smoking and drinking and doing crazy, staying up every night till 3 a.m. playing Fortnite. Say Mo doesn't know that right now, but he started doing it in the last 3 weeks. And in the next 18 months, his career plummets. Yes, Mo's prediction was wrong, but Mo didn't know all the variables. That's why it's not important to that. It doesn't mean Mo's got bad football knowledge. Mo didn't know what was going on. And I think everything's about, I was right, you were wrong. We all get loads right. We all get loads wrong as fans. That isn't what fan content was essentially created for. And I think it's become a little bit of a joke, if I'm being honest with you, in that regard. I really do.
Rashford is the best example for this. Just to finish on this, the guy was arguably one of the best English talents when like everybody thought that Marcus Rashford would be the next big thing. Real Madrid came sniffing around him. I remember Marcus Rashford was talked about the next big left winger for England. They said, we're going to build on this guy for 10 years at Man United. And he was like talented. By the way, since he was a kid, Man United fans were talking about this guy. He is the guy on that left side. And look at his career now. There is environment effect. There is change of managers. There is instability at the club, change of ownership now.
Yeah.
And now look at his career. That's an example. That doesn't mean that Marcus Rashford was not talented then. It means that his career just went down significantly.
It did, and there's
Dele Alli,
and there's so many factors that go into it. Now, I rated Dele Alli, but we've now learned all the reasons as to why he started to fade away. That doesn't mean my talent ID was off. Circumstance played a part in this, and we seem to want to ignore this. And this is a great comment here. I love this comment. It says people didn't enjoy Ronaldinho because of GA, but because of how he played the game so naturally. Yamar was doing that, and at 16, which is mind-blowing. I agree. Ronaldinho is an outlier in the game. He had the productivity, the delivery, the output, and the consistency, and the natural flair and beauty that we fell in love with. But he's judged on both. If he had all that flair and ability, but was scraping 5 goals, 6 goals, 7 goals, maybe 10 goal and assists in all comps all year, and failed to deliver as regularly as he did, he wouldn't be remembered in the same way just because of his natural ability. It is a combination of those two things. Whether it's Pele or Maradona or Cristiano or R9, any of these players who I believe are the outliers of our game, whose technical ability, whose beauty on the ball, whose consistency of outputs are so high, it's the combination of those two things as attackers that stand out massively to me. It really, really is. Let's go to a few more of these comments that are coming through here. Dutch Everson can't score 5 yards, needs. Well, what do you make of Memphis in this tournament? Because a lot of people are getting on at him, and then obviously what happens, he wears a sweatband, he plays badly, people are focusing on the sweatband. What do you make of his performances, though?
I think his decision making need to be studied in the lab. I'm being serious. This guy need to be studied in a lab. He actually did a corner today that I have never seen in my life. He did a corner from the right side with the right foot, with the other side of the foot. It went directly to a goal kick. It didn't even swerve. He literally took it to the outside of the foot. This guy need to be studied. I don't see why he would start again for the Netherlands. He's not great. He didn't play terrible today like the first game, but sometimes his decision making, it just like he does good stuff and then his decision making just fails him. I don't know why he would start. Maybe off the bench would be good, like he did for Atletico Madrid last season. He fails to make the right decision about 9 out of 10 times every game. Overall play, connecting passes. He does the thing about Memphis Depay is that he does the basic things right. He receives the ball, pass it to the next guy, keep the attack going. Now comes in the final third, he's making a decision. He makes the wrong decision 9 times out of 10. And for that team, I think they need better because they have good players. The Gakpos, Marlin, even Bergwijn on the other side. He needs to make better decisions. And he is the experienced guy out there from that front line. He makes terrible decisions in the final third. He does all, like, I'm watching him today, goes in the right places, receives the ball, passes it to Gakpo. Gakpo passes it back, and he makes a terrible decision. Keep it going. No, he doesn't keep it going. He starts well, and then he ends in the final third or in the penalty area. He makes atrocious decisions. And I don't know why. I actually don't know why a footballer at the age of 29, 30 makes all these wrong decisions. But maybe, as Rooney said, he makes wrong decisions overall, like just what Rooney said. So maybe on the pitch,
yeah. And Memphis is such a great example when you think about what we're sort of talking about with these young players. It wasn't wrong to rate his talent when he was younger, but his decision making just hasn't developed and become good enough since he was a young player. Now, some people do become better decision makers, and one of the greatest football players of all time, Cristiano Ronaldo, undoubtedly has become a better decision maker, has learned to read the game better, especially as an attacker and a goal scorer. And everybody watching could probably find an example of a player who has become a better decision maker and become a better football player the older that they have got. But anybody that predicted Memphis to be a top star wasn't wrong to predict it. They genuinely were not. He's a good footballer, but he just hasn't quite got to the level that everybody hoped he would or expected him to. And I think some people are just, they can't quite admit that. This year says hit the like button. Of course, everybody, if you haven't done so yet, hit that like and share button for us. Klopp had this baller at central midfield and the crouch roll, bum coach. I will say Tom Little was here with us, and he actually said, he goes, like, seeing Gakpo played in his natural position is great to see, because he does deliver better there. And typically speaking, most footballers do better in their natural position than one that's a little bit awkward for them. They really, really do.
They had Diaz, and Diaz had to start, and when Diaz is fit, he starts. By the way, Cody Gakpo did not deliver as much as he did with the national with Liverpool, as much as he did with the national team, to be honest. If he can replicate that form, yes. But if he goes back to when people said you're not good, and it's not only about the natural position, it's a different style of play. The Netherlands today kind of played on the transition, quick transition. At Liverpool, they had position. They always were smothering the opposition. I didn't think he was good at Liverpool at all. People just forget that. Rewrite. I hate that rewriting the history after you watch him a couple of times with the national team. It's completely different. Different style, different way of playing, different tactics. He wasn't good at Liverpool. He wasn't one of their best players at all. A lot of Liverpool fans said he wasn't good enough to start for them. And for me, I'm looking at Memphis, at Cody Gakpo. Can he provide this week in, week out at Liverpool? We haven't seen that yet. Liverpool fans, if you're going to put your hopes on Cody Gakpo replicating this Netherlands form in the season, I think it's a risk. You still need a left winger to start there. What did you do? So for me, we'll see if Slot can get the best out of him. Arne Slot can get the best out of him. If he can get that version of Cody Gakpo, maybe. Cody Gakpo has been at Liverpool for 18 months. He has not showed consistency once. 18 months is enough sample size for me to say, maybe you need someone to challenge you in that place. Maybe you need. Can he be the guy to start for Liverpool week in, week out? 18 months? He hasn't showed me this. If I'm a Liverpool fan, I would demand someone else. I would say, oh yeah, you can be a bench player until you prove us that you can play like this every week. Because I've seen a lot of players. I'm going to tell you an example. Richarlison for the national team of Brazil would score goals. He would start every game, overhead kick in the World Cup. Goes to Spurs, not consistent enough. People want to see him out. He's not good enough. Playing at international level is not a measuring stick for how he performs. And also, we already have a measuring stick for Cody Gakpo, which is 18 months at Liverpool. He already has 18 months at Liverpool. Darwin Núñez, if you're going to have the same thing, Darwin Núñez plays good for Uruguay, scores goals. You cannot have that as a measuring stick. Different teammates, different style, different coach. And I'm going to tell you one thing, different passion.
Yeah. No, I do understand. I would say this, though. They have a new manager coming in. I think Gakpo should and will be given another 12 months. There is a player in there, but it's the consistency and the decision-making that is going to be really, really key. But Definitely had a good tournament so far.
Yeah.
Look, Mo, I want to thank you very, very much for coming on and having your say. Viewers, thank you very, very much indeed. As you can tell, we only just set up in here. I didn't even set the light up, and it's starting to get dark. So I tried to change the iOS of the camera. This video is going to take you through to Hassam's channel for his watch along for the Turkey game. So make sure you go along and watch it. We'll be live later tonight. Mo, everyone who's tuned in, I want to say a big thank you to each and every single one of you. It is always a pleasure to sit here and talk football with everybody. Please make sure before you leave, you've hit the like button. Please make sure that you have subscribed if you haven't done so already. And we will be seeing you all, yeah, very, very soon. We will be back soon. So I was waiting for something to work on my screen. Why is it not working? There we go. It is working now. Listen, take care, everybody. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again soon. Peace.